The French Revolution was a cycle that lasted from around 1789 to completing its cycle at 1815 with the restoration of the crown. Today we're going to look at the origins of the French Revolution. So the couple of aspects that we're going to look at today for the thing are the monarchical failures, social conflicts, and economic crisis leading into the revolution. A lot of the social and economic issues being faced by France were due to the failures of the last three kings before the revolution, Louis XIV, XV, and XVI. Louis XIV was raised under the tutelage that the king was to have absolute power, and so he consolidated a lot of power, which would leave France weakened if they had a poor leader in the years to come. France had developed quite a debt under the rule of Louis XIV due to a lot of lavish spending and constantly being at war. Louis XIV was at war for about 3/4 of his reign, and also created the Palace of Versailles because he didn't want to live in Paris due to a incident when he was younger. Louis XV and XVI inherited this issue, and so they had to deal with trying to figure out how to solve the debt crisis. One of the financial advisors of Louis XVI said that one cannon shot would bankrupt the state. Louis XV acquired this inheritance and had to deal with it. He worked and clashed with the nobles because he did a lot to remove their privileges, and so he issued the royal edict, which ended a lot of that and consolidated power more. Another result was that he expelled the Parlement, which is the judicial system, and he replaced them with people that had similar opinions to him, which is the Maupeou Parliament. And this was what some historians say the last chance of success for the monarchy. Louis XVI only wanted to be liked, and this caused a lot of his issues and the eventual downfall of the monarchy. He overturned the royal edict, which brought back the old Parlement, and he agreed for the meeting of the Estates General, which ended up allowing the eventual downfall of the Ancien regime. One of the other big issues is social structure. The French system was set up with three estates: the clergy, the nobles, and the third estate, which was everybody else. And in France there was a huge discrepancy between the upper class and the lower class, just with privileges and other things that went along with it. Louis XVI called for the meeting of the Estates General, which was a legislative assembly comprised of members from each of the three estates. The last time it was called was in the early 1600s, so it was about 150 years since it was called. He didn't present any agenda for it, and so they just kind of met and didn't have any purpose. That is, until he locked out the third estate from the meeting hall. They gathered in a tennis court along with some of the other members of the other estates and issued the oath at the tennis court, which said that they would not stop meeting until they had a new constitution. This was revolutionary because it got the power to the people instead of being withheld in the upper estates. The other big causing factor that we're going to talk about today is the economic crisis that France was facing leading up to the revolution. There's a large debt, and in order to deal with the debt, the state relied on assignats, which were the paper currency used in France. These rapidly inflated and the economy spiraled downwards. There also were crop shortages, and things just couldn't transfer very easily in between France. The way that France was taxed also didn't make a whole lot of sense, and so this caused a lot of issues in the long run, where the taxes on the areas that were acquired later, which were the pays d'etat, which in this little map are the shaded areas, were a lot lower than the central regions of France. So today we looked at the causes of the French Revolution, namely the monarchical failures, the social structure, and economic crises. And so this is setting the stage for the bloody turn of the revolution. We're going to see a lot of radical changes. We're going to see a lot of death, doom, destruction, all coming up in the next couple of weeks.